I am so excited to bring this series to a close, and I'm very happy with the order because I know that we're going to close this off perfectly and powerfully. And if you are still feeling some sensations of fear, that is totally normal, and it's what we're going to do today. So, we made it all the way to day 5, the final day in this series. And before we jump in, which we're going to do, feet first, I want to give you some credit, you personally. You showed up every day. You kept coming back and you made it all the way to the end. Not everybody does that. The person who fully does not believe that this is for them, they do not make it this far. So give yourself some credit because this is where the serious get sorted out and those that this is meant for rise to the top. This week, you've seen what's possible, not just for me, but for people who started out exactly where you are. You've seen what it takes to master the skill, to build the systems, and what it looks like to scale. You've heard it broken down into secrets, and you've seen behind the scenes. You've gotten clear on what's standing in the way, in general and for you. For some of you, it's definitely mastering the skill, and for some of you, it's definitely learning to scale, and for some of you, it's both. And regardless of which one it is, there is a solution for that. And for some of you, more than would like to admit out loud, many of you who probably aren't even fully aware of it yet, the bottleneck is not knowledge and it isn't strategy. The biggest bottleneck is actually belief. Specifically, belief that this isn't possible, and more specifically, not possible for you. What I notice is that for a lot of people, when sharing a success story, they're looking for the reasons that they're different. They're separating themselves from the story instead of finding the things that are more aligned. They're finding holes and reasons why it might not apply to them. Again, distancing themselves from that success instead of leaning in. So this can sound like, oh, she had an accounting degree, or maybe in her life, this person has more help and more time. Maybe they don't have kids. Maybe they started earlier and maybe they're just built with something different. So it's an active distancing yourself from the real evidence because your belief system is making you do that. I said this on day 2 and it's worth repeating today. Your beliefs control your thoughts control your actions, and your actions control your outcomes. So the belief bottleneck doesn't just affect your mindset and how you feel, it directly affects your actual results. So we're going to call out what's actually blocking belief. And I know that these are going to resonate for so many of you. The thing about fear is that it doesn't just go away because somebody tells you that something's possible. It's blocked by very specific things. And I think that as type A accountants, we suffer from this more than most, which is, again, one of the things, these traits are things that are going to make you good at what you do, but they do keep you stalled. So let's look at them. Perfectionism. That's actually just paralyzing fear with a cute little nickname. Sounds nice, right? I'm a perfectionist, but it really just means that you stall. So it's this idea that you can't start until you're absolutely 100% ready. And what does that do? It causes revisions and rerouting and inaction and pausing and erasing and taking a new page out and starting over until you know enough, until the time is right, until the kids are older, until work slows down, until you've mastered what everything is going to look and sound like, until you've done more research. And the time is never going to be right. So what perfectionism actually does is it keeps you in a state of permanent preparation. And permanent preparation is, again, just a better word of doing nothing. It's a better version, sounds a little better. Permanent preparation is just a better worded version of doing nothing. And it goes right along with the fear of failure. And here's the part that hurts. You have a fear that this won't work. By doing nothing, staying in a permanent thought spiral, consuming content, longing for change, but not actually moving towards it, you are ensuring that it doesn't work. Inaction is guaranteed failure. So fear causes inaction. And if you're afraid of failing, yet you're doing nothing, you've already chosen what the outcome will be. And it's the outcome that you are most afraid of. And it's worth giving that just some space, recognizing and letting that sink in. Your inaction is going to guarantee the result that you fear most. And there's a little bit more to it because it's also caring what other people think. I know we're all guilty of this. I would be lying if I still don't experience some level of this. I just quickly move myself through it and I give myself this reframe. So, some examples of people that we might feel embarrassed if they see us try, caring what other people think. It can be old coworkers, your old boss, someone from high school that was mean to you that you haven't spoken to in years but follows you on Facebook and you can't unfriend, the family member who might make that condescending comment the 2 times that you run into them per year. And here's what I want to offer you: no one is watching as closely as you think. They're swiping away, they're uninterested. And everyone, for the most part, is thinking about themselves. And when you let that land, the idea that people aren't paying that much attention to you, it's actually insanely freeing. You're like, wait, they're not actually just watching? I'm free to do whatever I want? That's great. And I'm not going to say that that's always the case because there are people who probably might be rooting against you. Let me know if you have an idea of somebody, if you were to put yourself out there and they were to see you publicly and you failed, you feel like they would enjoy that. There might be people out there that might be rooting against you. They might want to keep you small, but who cares? This is so important. If you let these people stop you from working towards your dreams, for showing up for the people that you will serve and will have a positive outcome on, like you're going to influence these people positively, is what I'm trying to say, then you give them the biggest win that they could ever be asking for. These are your naysayers, the people rooting against you. You're going to let them win by staying small to avoid criticism. By avoiding criticism, you also avoid success. So, sure, they'll never see you fail, but they'll also never see you thrive. Is that a power that you want to give to the people that you think don't support you? Is that a power that you want to give to the people that you think don't support you? So, for the most part, people are not watching. These people in your small world today, they're not going to be there when you rise. And the ones who are rooting against you, their opinion doesn't matter. And it certainly doesn't matter enough to cause you to not act on the ability for you to succeed. So, underneath all of it, your perfectionism, your fear of failure, your fear of what other people think is this: your brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do. It's keeping you safe. Where you are right now is known and you're surviving it. It's familiar. There's not a lot of unknown risk, but there's also no movement. Your brain is saying, this is the beast that I know. And while it's not my dream and it's probably not my potential, it's a lot less scary than this monster that's under my bed, this unknown. So you listen to these doubts and these fears and these hesitations, these things that you think are being cautious, they're actually just causing you to play small. And yes, you're taking no risks and you suffer no unknown losses, but the losses are happening. They're just undocumented to most. They're the opportunities that haven't materialized, the potential that you haven't lived up to, the calling you're not answering, and the path that you let pass you by. And the failures, while they're not public, are felt in your heart, maybe completely in secrecy. It might be something you share with no one, but you feel it. It's the things that don't change. It's the version of your life that stays exactly the same. And so when the discomfort of your current reality is greater than the discomfort of the effort that it will take to try to change that circumstance, that's when you can make the change. I have 4 questions for you to self-reflect. I don't want you to do this right now. I also don't want you to answer it in your head. I want you to let me dictate a bit of like how deep these questions are. And then at the end, I want you to take a screenshot or maybe write them down as I go, but do not answer them yet. There is something really powerful that comes with taking out pen and paper and giving yourself space. This will take you no more than an hour. I mean, if you went really deep, it would take you an hour. It'll probably take you 15 minutes. I think you owe that to yourself. So the first question is, what does this dream actually look like? You have an idea in your head. You've probably written it somewhere before, but I don't want you to be vague or short. I want you to be big and specific. I want you to go very deep here. This is for you. What does a Tuesday look like? What does your bank account look like in 6 months or a year in? What does it feel like when you open up your laptop? And you know that this work is yours. It's your schedule, it's your clients, it's your terms, it's your team, it's something that you built. What does life feel like when work is not taking place? Go there. Let yourself actually picture it. You can close your eyes. It's one of the better ways to do it. Like, really picture what a day in the life looks like for you, your life. Because if you can't picture it, you certainly can't pursue it. If you don't know where you're going, if it's a GPS and you haven't put in the destination, it cannot give you directions and instructions. And it's not like that path is always perfect. Sometimes there's traffic along the way, and sometimes you make a wrong turn and it reroutes. This is what it means to get into action. The second question for you to answer for you is, what happens if it goes according to plan or better? Make sure that you write that down. The best case scenario. I want you to spend some real time here, and I want you to get delusionally optimistic. This is just for you. This is your diary. So go big. You're telling yourself a story either way. Right now, your very creative accountant brain is storytelling. And it has been doing a lot of work coming up with worst case scenarios in vivid detail. I want you to take that same power that you have, that same creativity, and ask yourself, what could go right? What if you landed your first client faster than you expected? What if you were genuinely, life changingly good at this for your clients? What if a year from now, you were the success story that someone else was listening to, helping them to change their life and take action? Have you spent as much time here in the best case scenario thinking as you have ruminating and thinking about what can go wrong? You should write that down. Have you spent as much time thinking about what can go right as you have what can go wrong? These should be, in the beginning, at least equal. Then you should work on getting it greater. And then you should work on being realistic with your risk and your risk tolerance and what that looks like, which we're going to get into next, while also giving yourself space for it to go right. You can only look at one of these at a time. You're allowed to look at both. But when you're thinking about what's going wrong, it's like you're going in this direction. And when you're thinking about what can go right, you're looking here. You cannot look at both. And what you're looking at is going to determine what you believe, what you think, what you do, and what you achieve. So you have to get control over the thoughts that are in your head and the stories that you're telling yourself, and recognize this and ask yourself, is this really realistic, or is this fear? So the third is, what is the actual worst case scenario? Not just some hypothetical like this can happen or that can happen. I want you to write this out in detail. I do worst case thinking all the time. It helps. It's a quick exercise that you can do, and then you get to the end. And so we're going to walk you through it. I want you to, just as equally as you went big on the best case scenario, I want you to really go there. Let yourself experience that worst case, not just kind of like tip around the surface, but actually go in. So if you invested, if you tried, if you gave it your all, if you showed up, if you embarrassed yourself, and absolutely nothing came of it, nothing, zero, you got nothing in return. First, I need you to write this down. How likely is that to actually happen? Okay. How likely is this worst case scenario? If you genuinely invested your time and your energy into learning the skill and building the business and showing up and implementing, what are the realistic odds that you receive absolutely nothing in return? Not one single client. And if that happened, even if that happened, the unlikelihood that it goes completely as bad as it could get, what would you do? What then? Because you're not just going to sit there. There will be an action. What will that action be? Would you figure it out? Have you figured things out before? Could you handle it? Would the known be better than the unknown? Because for most people, when they actually sit and explore the real worst case scenario, they realize, I can handle that. And I've handled things before. And once you know that you can handle the worst, you're free to pursue the best. You know what could actually go wrong. It's measurable, and you have a plan, and then you are free to pursue the best. Again, the worst case scenario is finite and measurable. The best case scenario is unlimited. And that's another thing that you should consider. And finally, the question I want to leave you with is, what happens if you take not a single step? If you do not move, not next week, not this year, what does life look like a year from now if no action has been taken and nothing changes? What does it look like 5 years from now and 10? These are all subparts. So, what does life look like a year from now, 5 years from now, and 10? And what does it feel like to never have given yourself the chance to even find that out? You can opt out. That's a completely valid choice. It truly is. And we're going to get to that too. I just want you to make it consciously. I want you to really weigh these scenarios and figure it out, because drifting through without deciding is just safety. That you think it's safety, it's a disguise. It is indecision, and you are hanging out here for too long, and there are real costs to that, and it's heavy. So again, screenshot these questions so you can answer these fully. It's really important. So I have a note here to do the work, but I already said that in the beginning. So I'm just going to reiterate quickly. You are doing yourself a disservice if you do not take the time to write this out. You have time and space. Do this after the video. Now, I want you to picture this. You're standing at a crossroads. You can close your eyes for this because you can kind of just settle in and visualize. You are at a crossroads. On one side, there's a path marked bookkeeping business. And on the other, it's heading in a different direction, is an empty chalkboard. It's a path that's undefined, and it is not along the same path. They are in different places. You cannot go both at the same time. You're wearing a backpack. Inside that backpack is every thought you've been carrying. It's every hope, every what if, every dream about what this business could be. And you're just standing there, looking at the signs, looking back and forth. You're trying to see the end of the path and every twist of the trail from the trailhead. You're wondering if there's bears, pythons, cliffs. And meanwhile, other hikers are beginning the trail and they're fading out of sight. And you sit, still wearing your backpack. The backpack is not light, it's heavy. And the time that you spend in the thought spiral, in the shower, in the car, lying awake, it's not neutral. It counts. It's your energy. It's your hourly rate going to zero without a single step taken in either direction. And so today, I want to help you do one thing. The antidote to a lack of belief is to decide. It's simply to decide. So if you've sat with these questions and something in you genuinely knows that this is not your path, I'm going to tell you something that no one in a series like this has ever told anyone before. It's going to sound strange. I want you to take that backpack and put it down. Unfollow the bookkeeping accounts, stop consuming the content, free up your mental space that you've been giving to something that you're not meant to pursue. We just explored this. If you're saying it's not for me, it's not for me. So now you have the freedom to redirect your energy to whatever is right for you. Because bookkeeping isn't right for everyone, and it's not supposed to be. That's literally why there's a market for it. That's why you have clients. If your clients were meant to be bookkeepers, they would do it themselves. So if it's not meant for you, close the loop, make that decision, and this is a powerful and freeing choice. Put it down. And I want you to think about how that feels. Because if I told you to put it down and you put it down and then that feeling was heavy, the idea of putting it down felt like a loss or some kind of a grief, then that longing, that resistance that you're feeling, that tightness in your chest, that's your answer. So pick it back up and then take a step. Get on the trail. So here is the formula that helps you get out of the bottleneck of belief. It's action. It's deciding, do I have the belief or do I not? If I don't have the belief, I'm going to stop. I'm going to reroute my thoughts. If I do have the belief, then I'm going to couple that belief with action to achieve results. It's not just belief alone. It's not just action alone. It's both. So once you've decided, you have to actually get on the trail. Move. Take the steps as they come. Read the signs along the way. Course correct as needed, but stay in motion. And if you join the course, complete it. And if you join a coaching program, show up for it. And after you show up, implement. Because information nowhere is just going to transplant into your brain. You have to complete it. And results are not going to be delivered to you like a box on Amazon Prime. The results are created. They're created by showing up, completing the work, and implementing it. And that part's on you, and it's completely within your control. And it's much easier to do once you back it with belief that you can handle the worst case scenario, that you're here for the best case scenario, that this is something doable and doable for you. So once you've decided that this is for you and you're ready to back it with action, the question is just which bottleneck is still in your way and what are you going to do about it? So if you have doubt in your skill, if imposter syndrome is loud, if you're worried about accuracy, if you want to trust yourself in your clients' books and work efficiently so that you can be as profitable as possible, then your next step is become a bookkeeper. That's where you close your skills gap for good. You build the competence that creates confidence. You put imposter syndrome to bed, not by talking yourself into feeling better, but by actually knowing what you're doing. Your enrollment link and special offer are in your inbox now. And if it's learning how to scale because your skills are solid and you're ready to grow, if you want income and a life that's worth living, if you're done being the only one doing everything, then your next step is life by the books. You've already seen what that looks like this week, the team, the systems, the freedom that's actually there, not just the income, but the time. And something I don't think I hit on enough that I just want to highlight is that a team does not have to be a big, scary 30-hour-a-week hire today. There are ways to do it with light support that make a big difference, which is how I grew my business for 5 years. Light support that just spread out my capacity and allowed me to grow while being able to live my life. Again, if that is your next step, your link and your offer are also in your inbox. You're able to self-select here and choose which one is right for you. And whichever one that is, there is an offer waiting for you, along with when that offer expires. I give time for you to digest. We covered a lot of ground this week. So if there is a part that you want to revisit, and certainly with those journaling activities, I recommend that you do that so that you are consciously making this next choice and knowing which one is right for you. So whatever your next step is, the assignment is just to take it. You did the work this week. You showed up 5 days. You let yourself consider what's possible, and there's only one thing left to do. Simply decide. Wherever that next step takes you, I hope to see you there. Thank you for being here this week.